What's up everyone, we're going to be going through the best NBA player props on Prizepicks today. Now I did want to show you the results from yesterday's picks from my exclusive Discord group, and as you guys see we actually got 21 picks correct, which was absolutely insane. Now a lot of you comment wanting to see how many I got wrong, and I thought I'd show you in today's video. We only got 2 picks wrong and got 21 right, which is a 95% win rate. Yes guys, you heard that right, 95% win rate. So we're on a huge hot streak, but if you want to get a 95% win rate and get 21 picks right like me, win more bets and receive the best picks from some of the best bettors in the world for less than a cup of coffee, you can access the exclusive Discord and meet some of the best sport bettors in the game by joining my Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. Once you join, you'll have complete access to the Discord and can start winning more bets today. So make sure you join my Patreon using the link in the description. And here's one of our members who just signed up and won himself $1,900 just yesterday. Another member who won $400 for the 6th day in a row since joining my Discord. So guys, if you want to win big money like our members, the link will be in the description, so go join the Patreon to have access to the Discord group, and I will be continuing to upload every single day on this channel the best bets and props, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss my daily uploads. Also want to give a quick shout out to Ritzy TV 1985 who commented let's get it man. Also shouts out to Santonio Flowers who said let's get it as well, and shout out to Daryl Sevier who also said I'm in, which he was joining the Discord. So shouts out to them who commented on my last video, and if you do want to get a shout out in the next video, all you have to do is comment down below on this one and like this video, and you can be in the running to win a shout out in the next one. Alright, so let's get straight into the first pick. And when it comes to these picks, I'm not saying to chuck all of them into a parlay and hope for the best. Pick and choose the ones that you like and the ones that work best for you. So the first pick we're going to talk about is none other than Josh Giddy. So Josh Giddy, fantastic player as we all know for the Chicago Bulls. And this one is a fantastic one because this one is actually for assist for actually 6.5, and this one is for less. Now we look at Chicago Bulls and also Josh Giddy as well. We do see that Josh Giddy has gone on the under in actually 1 out of the last 5 games. Now they do have themselves a very interesting matchup against the Phoenix Suns coming into this next game. But when we look at his averages over the last 5 and also how he has done over the last 5, we see that he's got on March 1st against Toronto Raptors, had 12 assists there. Then March 3rd facing off against Pacers, had 7 assists. Then March 7th, Orlando Magic had 9 assists. After that, Miami Heat, 12 assists, and then Indiana Pacers where he only had 4 assists. So he's gone on the under less than he's gone on the over, but we still do like the under for this position due to the fact that they face off against the Phoenix Suns. Now the big reason being is that when we look at the Phoenix Suns and the Chicago Bulls do rank 9th in their Eastern Conference with a record of 29-39. So they are still in playoff contention, you know, accepting a play-in spot as of right now. Things definitely may change, but they are going to continue to pursue and push very hard to try to make that play-in or even playoff spot. And on top of that, when you also look at the Phoenix Suns, they are in a similar situation. They currently rank 11th, so they are still pushing for a playoff run as they are only 1 win away from the 10th spot. So we definitely could see someone, you know, like or a team like the Suns do very well or continue to push to try to make it into the playoffs. So we are expecting them to go, you know, full out in this matchup and try to give it their all. Now, when we look at the Phoenix Suns and we look at assists allowed, we do see that when it comes to Phoenix Suns, we see when it comes to that they rank 19th in assists allowed. So they do rank a little bit low. However, the reason why we still do like the under for this situation here is that when it comes to the Phoenix Suns, they do actually a fantastic job at restricting assists to the guard position. So for that reason, we do very much like the under for this situation here. We definitely see someone like Josh Giddy going on the under and, you know, really struggling against a tough Phoenix Suns team. And also on top of that, when you look at the Phoenix Suns and Chicago matchup, Phoenix are a little bit slower pace than Chicago, and we are actually expecting for Phoenix to actually slow down the pace of this game. If they do slow down the pace of this game, we could see less volume, less pace from Josh Giddy overall, which should lead to the under as well. Now his average over the last 5 is 8.8. So although, you know, he is over his actual line when it comes to his average over the last 5, you do have to remember that he has faced off against very easy teams when it comes to the assist department, and he has been able to take advantage of that. So he's had a couple of outlier games. He had 2 games games where he had 12 assists, and we definitely see those being more outliers due to the fact he did take advantage of the poor defensive assisting team, which were Miami and Toronto in that case. So on top of that, when we look at Josh Giddy as well, we actually see that he has faced off against Phoenix in actually a game on the 22nd of February. Now, he did get 10 assists in that game. So yes, he did go on the over, but we should see him come back down to reality and should see him get a little bit closer to his line and actually go under on his line in this matchup. So for that reason, we definitely still do like the under, even though the most recent and only time they've played this season, he was able to go on the over. We think, he did get a little bit lucky on that matchup, but we should see a different result in this next one. For that reason, we think coming into this game, matchups, that's what's most important, as we always mention. And for that reason, we are liking the under for someone like Josh Giddy. So Giddy, 6.5 assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. All right, so getting into the next pick, we're going to be talking about none other than Malik Beasley. Now, this one's a fantastic one for points, for 14.5 points, and this one is for less. Now, we look at Malik Beasley. We've actually seen him go on the under in 4 out of the last 5 games, and they do actually have themselves a very interesting matchup against the Miami Heat. Now, when we look at the Miami Heat, we also do see a very interesting picture, because we do see that when it actually comes 2 points allowed, we see that, Miami Heat do actually rank really well as a ranked 7th. Now, when we look at the last 5 games, we see that they faced off against Portland, first of all, and he only had 10 points in that matchup. Then faced off against Washington Wizards, where he only had 14 points. Next game after that was a back-to-back on March 14, where he only had 8 points, and then faced off against Oklahoma City Thunder, where he had 15 points. Moving on from that, New Orleans Pelicans, and he only had 11 points. And now that they face off against Miami Heat, we definitely could see a very, very, big downturn in his usage rate in the points department, due to the fact that Miami ranks so well at 7th. Now, when we look at Malik Beasley, he is a guard as well, and when we look at Miami Heat, we see that Miami Heat do a fantastic job at actually restricting points to the actual guard position. So we see someone like Malik Beasley struggling there. Now, Malik, as we look at the last 5 games, we definitely have seen him just struggle to hit this usage rate consistently. We've seen him go in the under multiple times, and we definitely see that happening once again in this matchup. Now, his average over the last 5 is also 11.6, so significantly below this line as well. Now, when we look at a team like Miami, we also do see that Miami are a very, very slow-paced team. We all definitely know this. Detroit as well are a slow-paced team, but what we have seen time and time again is that Miami do a fantastic job at slowing down faster-paced teams compared to them. So we actually are expecting Detroit to come down to Miami's pace. If they do come down to Miami's pace, what that usually means is less volume and less usage rate, and less pace from someone like Malik Beasley. Now, Beasley isn't even the star player in this matchup, so it's definitely a big reason why. I like to call it, they are unintentional scorers. So what I mean by that is, yes, Malik Beasley does score, but sometimes his opportunities can be limited due to other star players in that Detroit team. So we definitely see something similar to that coming into this game, and that's a big reason why we do like the under for someone like Malik Beasley here. And when we look at his average, also or against the Heat this season, we've seen very interesting stats. Now, when we look at the first time that they did play this season was on the 28th. He only had 3 points in that matchup. Then they faced off again on the 12th, and he had 21 points. And then after that, faced off again on 16th, where he had 28 points. So he was, kind of going on the over, but those were during times when, Malik Beasley was just getting a little bit more usage rate due to some injuries. We definitely see his usage rate and his points line start to come back down to reality, especially against a Miami Heat team. Now, when you look at Beasley as well, what you also do see is that, when it comes to his points and his usage rate out there, it definitely can be unpredictable at times due to other star players, and we definitely are taking that into consideration there. So, when you look at his average over the last 5, 11.6, significantly under this line as well. So all signs really do point towards the under for this one, and that's why we are sticking to it. So Malik Beasley, 14.5 points for less, I think is a fantastic pick. Now getting to the next one, we're going to be talking about none other than PJ Washington. So Washington, as we all know, great player for none other than the Dallas Mavericks. Now Dallas Mavericks have had an interesting season so far, but they continue to push forward. But this one is actually for assists as well for 2.5, and this one is for less. Now look at PJ Washington. We've actually seen him go on the under in 2 out of the last 5 games. Now we look at his most recent games that they faced off against New Orleans Pelicans on Feb 22nd, where he only had 3 assists there. Then faced off against Golden State Warriors, where he had 3 assists on February 24. Then he faced off against the LA Lakers and had 5 assists there. Then Milwaukee Bucks had 0 assists. And then on March 17th, faced off against Philadelphia 76ers, where he only had 2 assists. Now, when it actually comes to PJ Washington, obviously this Dallas team is not the same as they used to be. Kyrie's injured, Anthony Davis is injured, so many other big injuries, and it's definitely just been a bit of a train wreck for the Dallas Mavericks. Now, Dallas Mavericks still do rank 10th in the Western Conference and are still currently in the play-ins, so that's definitely still a good sign there. They have a record of 33 and 36. However, Suns are just right behind them with only 1 win away. So, they definitely are going to continue to try to put the pressure and do a fantastic job and try to get this win. And they face off against the actual Indiana Pacers. Now, when you look at Indiana Pacers, you see the Pacers rank 4th in the Eastern Conference with a record of 38 and 29. So, definitely very different there. Now, when we look at, actually Indiana Pacers and look at their assists allowed, we do see that when it comes to the Pacers, we see that the Pacers do rank, when it actually comes to assist allowed, they rank pretty lowish in that sense, as they rank 14th. So I would say mid-tier in that case. But when you look at a team like Pacers, we definitely see that being enough to see someone like PJ Washington go on the under here. A big reason being is that PJ does play forward, and Indiana are known for actually putting great defensive pressure, especially in the assist category, to the forward position. So we definitely see someone like PJ Washington actually struggling and suffering in this game because of it. So we definitely do like the under. Now, when we look at actually PJ Washington against Pacers so far this season, we were only able to find 1 game on the 4th where he actually had 0 assists in that game. Okay, so 0. PJ Washington isn't really too much of a playmaker, and that definitely does show, especially in this game, that we're just looking at right now. But we are expecting a similar result in this next matchup for PJ Washington coming into this game against the Indiana Pacers. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for this. So PJ Washington, 2.5 assists for less, I think is a fantastic pick. So as you all know, I do want to get these picks out to you as soon as possible, but Prizepicks is delayed with some of their lines. So here are a couple of players you should definitely watch out for when their lines drop. So the first player we're going to be talking about is none other than Anthony Edwards. So Anthony Edwards is a fantastic player, as we all know, and Anthony Edwards has done a fantastic job for none other than the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, when we look at his stats, we have seen he's averaged 27.6 points, which actually ranks him 4th, which is great, 5.8 rebounds, which ranks him 59th, 4.6 assists, which ranks him 48th, and then 44.4% from the field, which ranks him 93rd. So he's had a great season throughout, his whole time with the Timberwolves so far this season. Hasn't really had too many injuries, so he's done a fantastic job there. And now they do have themselves a very exciting matchup against the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, when we look at both of these teams, we do see that the Minnesota Timberwolves have a record of 40 and 30. They are continuing to push for a playoff spot, as they currently are ranked 7th, so they continue to push there. On top of that, when you look at the Pelicans on the other side, you do see that the Pelicans rank 14th with a record of 18 and 51 in the Western Conference as well. So Pelicans may look like they are out of contention when it comes to playoffs. I doubt they are going to be pushing for it. They are going to look to try to tank and, try to get a high draft pick coming into this next draft coming up soon. Now, when we look at the Pelicans, we do see that they actually rank 22nd when it comes to points allowed, which is interesting to see there. Moving on into assists allowed, we also do see that when it comes to Pelicans, we see them rank a little bit better but they still do rank actually 27th as well. So when it comes to that, we also see that rebounds allowed, they rank 28th. So, when we look at those three stats, we see that they rank pretty much in the bottom 5 in all 3 categories, and we definitely see that being a big deal coming into this matchup. Now, when we look at someone like Anthony Edwards, we do very much like the over for this situation here, as Anthony Edwards continues to push for a playoff spot, as they are currently in 7, so they are in that play-in contention. They are looking to try and actually get, a permanent spot in that more higher level in that Western Conference, and because of that, we could see Anthony Edwards play quite a lot of minutes. Even against Pelicans, we definitely see that happening, and we definitely see him going on the over there due to the fact that he definitely has had a very high usage rate as of lately. Now, when we look at the stats, you definitely see that. When we look at some of his recent games, he is coming off a loss against Pacers where he had 38 points, 5 assists, and also 3 rebounds. Another game where he had 41 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds as well. And another game where he had 29 points, 6 assists, and also 4 rebounds there. So his usage rate has remained very high, especially when you look at his last 5 games. And we definitely see that being, or continuing to be that, coming into this next one. Now, when we look at both of these teams, we see that Pelicans are a little bit faster on pace. And what we have seen time and time again is that Pelicans do a fantastic job at actually speeding up the pace of, slower paced teams like Timberwolves. So we could see a little bit more pace than we usually do see from a team like Minnesota Timberwolves, but also from Anthony Edwards himself. So more pace means more volume from him and more opportunities to score, to rebound, and also to play make. So for that reason, we do very much like the over for this situation for Anthony Edwards. There really isn't any to focus on. When you look at all 3 categories, I do believe Anthony Edwards has the capability to go over on all 3. So I wouldn't really worry too much there. So for that reason, keep an eye out for the over for Anthony Edwards. I definitely do see that being a big thing there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Devin Booker. Now, when we look at Devin Booker, we definitely do see a very interesting, kind of stat line, because he's done a fantastic job for the Phoenix Suns, but it hasn't really been translating as well, as the Suns do rank 11th with a record of 32 and 37. So they definitely are continuing to push for a playoff spot. Now, Devin Booker so far this season has averaged 25.7 points, which actually ranks him 9th, 4.1 rebounds, which ranks him 114th, 7 assists, which ranks him 10th, and then 45.7 points, 45.7 field goal percentage, and he actually ranks 80th in that. So when we look at someone like Devin Booker, we do very much think it's going to be an exciting matchup as they face off against the Chicago Bulls. Now, Suns are currently, like I mentioned, ranking 11th, so they are still in that kind of realm where they can make the play-ins. Definitely, if they lose a couple of games, they could be out of it, but I do believe they are definitely in a pretty good spot to be able to secure a play-in spot. So they are expected to play not only just their starters a lot of minutes, but we are expecting Devin Booker to have a high usage rate in this coming game. Now, in this coming game, they do have themselves a matchup against the Chicago Bulls. Now, looking at the Chicago Bulls, they are also in a similar predicament. Chicago Bulls currently do actually rank 9th when it comes to the Eastern Conference, and they have a record of 29 and 39. So they have a pretty decent record. They are continuing to try to push for a playoff and play-in spot, and we definitely see both of these teams playing very hard coming into this game. Now, looking at Chicago Bulls, however, when it comes to points, rebounds, and assists allowed, we definitely see a very interesting story. Now, when we look at points allowed, we see that the Chicago Bulls do rank 29th. Then moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 29th as well. And then rebounds allowed, they also do rank 29th. Now, we see them rank pretty much 29th in all 3 categories. They rank very low, and because of that, we do very much like the over for this situation for someone like Devin Booker. So the reason why we do like the over is not only that Chicago Bulls do rank very low in that category, but on top of that, what we also do see is that Chicago Bulls really do very much struggle against the shooting guard position. So we definitely see someone like Devin Booker, going on the actual over in this situation and taking advantage of that. that. Now, both of these teams, Bulls and Suns are a little bit more slower paced than Bulls, but what we have seen time and time again is that since Bulls are a pretty fast paced team, we've actually seen them speed up slower paced teams. And we definitely see that being the case here. And because of that, it definitely could lead to a lot more chances to go on the over for someone like Devin Booker, as more pace equals more volume from him. Now, when we look at Booker as well, over the last 5 games, we have seen some pretty good stat lines from him. He's coming off a game against Toronto where he had 27 points, 6 assists, and also 4 rebounds. Another game where he had 22 points, 13 assists, and 4 rebounds as well. Another one where he had 19, 11, and 6. So, when it actually comes to Devin Booker, his usage rate has remained very, very high. Now, although he hasn't always gone on the over on his lines in all of his last 5 games, we definitely see the consistency is there, and he does get pretty close to the line when he faces off against a tougher matchup. But now that they do face off against Chicago Bulls, we definitely could see a very, very different story, as Chicago Bulls are a little bit or very much worse at defense, and we see someone like Devin Booker being able to take advantage of that. So for that reason, I definitely would keep an eye out for the over for someone like Devin Booker, especially coming into this matchup. So keep an eye for Devin Booker's line. If it is under his averages, definitely look to go in the over. So definitely see a lot of great value there. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Desmond Bane. Now, Desmond Bane has done a fantastic job for his team, the Memphis Grizzlies, because the Memphis Grizzlies do or have been doing pretty well so far this season. Now, so far, he's been averaging 19.1 points, which ranks him 43rd, 6.3 rebounds, which ranks him 45th, 5.5 assists, which ranks him 33rd, and then 48.7% from the field, which ranks him 45th. So he's done a very, very good job for this Memphis Grizzlies team, especially with, some of the injuries Memphis Grizzlies has faced. Now, Memphis do have themselves an exciting matchup against the Portland Trailblazers. Now, when we look at the Memphis Grizzlies, we have seen a very interesting standing. They currently rank 5th when it comes to the Western Conference, with a record of 43-26. So they rank 5th. They are currently in a secured playoff spot as of recent, but anything can really change. There is still a couple of games just left, and they haven't actually clinched a playoff spot just as of yet as well. Then we look and stick to the Western Conference. We see that they face off against the Portland Trailblazers, and we see the Portland Trailblazers do rank 12th, when it comes to that Western Conference, but also have a record of 30-39. So, very different record there. Portland is somewhat in that play-in sort of contention. They definitely could make it if they're going a little bit of a win streak, but it is still very 50-50, but I do believe they are going to still try to play hard coming into this game. When it comes to, they're pretty far away from the last team, which is Jazz, who only have 15 wins. So, because of that, we definitely see Portland still playing hard coming into this game. Now, when we look at the matchup, we see that the Portland Trailblazers do actually rank when it comes to points allowed. We see them rank 17th. Moving on into assists allowed, we see something a little bit similar in that sense, but they rank 13th. So much more in that higher mid-tier rather than just lower mid-tier. And then rebounds allowed, we also do see that the Portland Trailblazers do actually rank 16th as well. So they rank very, very well to actually, decently for where they are actually right now. And because of that, we do very much like the over for this situation for someone like Desmond Bane. Now, Desmond Bane is not only a fantastic player, but he does have a really good usage rate in all 3 departments. Now, when we look at someone like Desmond Bane, what we have seen is that he's done a fantastic job at actually, doing a very, very good job due to the fact that Portland do a poor job against shooting guards, and we think Desmond Bane is going to be able to take advantage of that. Okay, when we've seen other teams face off against Desmond Bane who do a very poor job against shooting guards, we've seen Bane be able to take advantage of that, and because of that, they have paid for it. So we definitely see that being the case here when it comes to Trailblazers. Trailblazers rank very mid-tier in all 3 categories. On top of that, when you also look at that, you also do see that Portland aren't really the best team in a sense defensively. Now, they are a pretty fast-paced team, so we are expecting a lot of pace from this game as well, but overall, we think Desmond Bane will or should be able to take advantage in all 3 departments. So we aren't really going to be focusing on 1 or 2 of the departments. I think all he has the capability to definitely go on the over. When you look at Desmond Bane over the last 5 games, he's had some really good ones. So he's had one against, Sacramento where he had 44 points, 4 assists, 6 rebounds, which is great. Another game where he had 22 points, 8 assists, 10 rebounds, and also another game where he had 17 points, 9 assists, 5 rebounds. So, when he does face off against easier teams, he does have a really good usage rate out there and is able to take advantage of that. And we definitely saw that in the most recent game in Sacramento where he had 44. And we see that just being the case coming into this next one as well. So this one is just kind of a no-brainer to us. We do very much like the over for this situation here. So I definitely would keep an eye out for that. Now, getting into the next player, we're going to be talking about Michael Porter Jr. So as we all know, Michael Porter Jr., great player for the Denver Nuggets. And when it comes to Michael Porter Jr. so far this season, he's averaged 18.3 points, 7 rebounds, 2.1 assists, while also shooting 50.2% from the field. So he's done a fantastic job for none other than the Denver Nuggets. And the Denver Nuggets do have themselves a very, very good matchup actually against none other than the Los Angeles Lakers. So it is going to be an exciting game because both of these teams are very, very close in ranking. When you look at the Denver Nuggets, they do have a record of 44-25, while the Lakers on the other side have a record of 42-25. And Nuggets rank 3rd and Lakers rank 4th, and both in the Western Conference as well. So, they are pretty much fighting for those same spots. They are continuing to push. So both of these teams, we are expecting to play very, very hard. Now, when we look at the Los Angeles Lakers, we do see when it comes to points allowed, we see that they rank 11th, so they rank really well there. Moving on into assists allowed, we see that they rank 21st, so a little bit worse there. And then rebounds allowed, we also see that they rank 8th. So, interesting there. They rank a little bit lower in that assist, but that's kind of okay for someone like Michael Porter Jr. No shade there, but there is a reason why they call him MPJ or Michael No Pass the Rock Porter. But when we look at someone like MPJ, we do actually see him going on the under for his line, but I would definitely focus on points and rebounds here. A big reason being is that Lakers do rank fantastic in those 2 categories, but also rank fantastic in those 2 categories to the small forward position as well. So we definitely see someone like MPJ really struggling against this matchup against Lakers, and we definitely are expecting Lakers to do a fantastic job there. We actually have seen that in a most recent game against when they actually faced off against the Lakers most recently, he had 13 points, 2 assists, and also 4 rebounds. So he was actually under his line in all 3 categories. So that's a very, very surprising thing to see there in a sense of, that's kind of what the stat line we are expecting coming into this game. He went under in all 3 of those, so we definitely see that being the case here. Now, I would definitely focus, like I mentioned, a little bit more on points and rebounds due to the fact that we are expecting a line to come out for those 2 kind of categories. And on top of that, Lakers also do rank better when it comes to restricting those 2 categories, especially to the small forward position. Now, both Nuggets and Lakers are pretty slow-paced teams, so we are expecting a slow amount of pace from both of these teams. And because of that, it definitely could have a huge effect on, the actual matchup coming into it. So, we definitely see that happening for MPJ coming into this matchup. So definitely keep an eye out for the under. But like I mentioned, keep an eye out for the line first. If it is too close to his averages, definitely look to go on the under.